I'm very glad to see you, especially those who came for the first time today, so please listen very carefully. Here, Ludmila mentioned about ACTIVIDAN, saying that it provides an amazing amount of well-being and a state of comfort inside, resulting in a healthy lifestyle. The most important thing to know here is that it is a natural product, a component that is taken from the sea. I will explain in detail how it works for the body. Well, ACTIVIDAN, yes, ACTIVIDAN. So what is special about it? Someone might offer it, and the person says, is it a lot? And you would probably answer the same way. To understand how this polysaccharide works, you need to understand its components. We will discuss this today, and we will also discuss why it works this way. Speaking about this preparation, a component of functional nutrition, ACTIVIDAN, it should be mentioned that it is a component taken from the wall of algae, its mucus part. That is, when the algae is at depth, it is so intelligently created by nature that it does not speak, but it knows everything. And can you imagine, when there is a very high wave and the seaweed tears and breaks, it can restore itself due to this fucoidan, the state of the mucus wall of the water, activate itself even more than in those years. And when the actividant was created, with the understanding that everything here is preserved by nature, absolutely nothing is discarded, the component itself is preserved, and its activity is enhanced by the fact that it is properly prepared, processed, and is in a part and packaged form, where it does not degrade and does not lose its necessary active properties. And the first thing to talk about is that we have polysaccharides inside us. These are the components that help us live long, be healthy, be active, have a lot of energy, not get sick, and have a good immune system. There are 8 of these polysaccharides, and each of them plays its main role. The most important polysaccharide among these components is inositol-galactosamine acid. Why is it the most important? We are talking about the effect of apoptosis. The effect of apoptosis is when a mutated cell begins to be destroyed by the body itself without causing any negative consequences inside. And this polysaccharide component will play a major role because it fights HIV infection, causes tumor cells to dissolve, preventing metastasis in the body. And it has a very active way, an active property, of significantly boosting the immune system. The most important thing is for our immunity to be at its peak. When immunity is low, we can have many issues internally. But when immunity is strong, high, without stimulation, we can live a very long time, have resistance to any infection that surrounds a person today, have good health, along with mood, energy, and everything else we need. Next, we look at the next polysaccharide component, which is N-acetyl-glucosamine acid, and we need to take care of the joints. Speaking of this component, the polysaccharide, it should be noted that N-acetyl-glucosamine acid has the unique ability to fully restore joint cartilage. Joints, any that are shown here, that each of us has. This is a pre-tablet joint. It can be any shoulder joint, elbow, and so on. That is, it works on the ligamentous apparatus, works on the cartilage tissue, works on the condition of the tissue to ensure it is normal in the body. This polysaccharide also has an active component called N-acetyl-glucosamine acid. N-acetyl, an acid that will work on brain cells. That is, it connects nerve endings, conducts cell impulses, and allows for long-term memory, enables our body to have a quick reaction, and enhances the cognitive properties of the brain. This is a very important point. That is, you do not take any pills, but you understand that the brain has the ability to maintain its properties, meaning something is preventing it. And this is precisely the polysaccharide that will help maintain the condition, give the body health, and allow the cognitive properties of the brain to improve, despite the fact that you are getting older each year. Next, very interesting components that are part of the polysaccharide include a component such as mannose. That is mannose, why it needs to be mentioned. Now, there is such a factor present due to diet, due to an unhealthy lifestyle, drinking water, stress, which people constantly have. There is a condition when the pancreas gives a collection in the body, and moments of insulin resistance begin. A person says, I have type 1 or type 2 diabetes, for example. What does he do? He takes some medications or injects insulin because it is not absorbed by the body. There is not enough. The pancreas has lost its ability and is already working incorrectly. And to maintain the condition, to prolong their life, doctors suggest this. Insulin-independent diabetes. For example, this is one picture, dependent, this is another picture. Now, there are chips that are inserted into the skin. But we are not talking about that. We are talking about how to help ourselves. Again, commands come from the brain. What needs to be done here? This mannose, as a polysaccharide that enters the body from intake given to you, allows the body to remember that it once knew how to produce insulin, a hormone that allows glucose to push into the cell, and everything will be fine. That is, by taking ACTIVIDAN, a person normalizes the sugar level in the blood. Next, what we need to understand. How does the brain get nourished? What we gave it, what we ate, got digested, and it tells you whether it feels good today or bad. Xylose is a polysaccharide that works in the intestines. That is, I'm already writing CT, and it will be clear to you here. This means that if there is candidiasis, then this very polysaccharide will help fight this candidiasis. Eliminate it and allow the body to function properly. That is, if there is candida in a person's intestines, consider that it is everywhere, on the skin, on the mucous membranes, and so on, the fungus. From there, it appears on the nails, but a person may know about it or may not know. It is present in both men and women. It can be in the mouth, it can be in the reproductive system, and so on. It sits quietly, does not cause any particular symptoms, but does its job very comfortably for itself and very harmfully for the body. It lowers immunity, a person starts to get sick more often, the skin becomes uncomfortable, dryness appears, such fungal lesions appear, there are areas, and the nails take a long time to heal in this case. But it is not going to leave the body and feels comfortable there because it is warm in the intestines. Moist, the person eats what they want, they think, I came to eat, so in this life I eat. And nothing particularly interests me. This is the component, the polysaccharide, which will provide cleanliness in the body. The next component we need here is fucose. The fucose component, we talked with you about the cognitive properties of the brain. Fucose allows the amyramine acid, the polysaccharide, to provide long-term memory. Long-term memory, we write. So it allows the body to give a good reaction for the brain. What do we need for energy? Tell me. From these components, maybe some other component comes to your mind? Do you remember? Those who have been around for a long time, do you remember? No? Glucose, I'll give you a hint. Glucose gives us a lot of reactions, such that we store energy. It stores energy in the cell, allowing the body to stay energetic throughout the day. And this glucose, how does it appear inside us? Again, due to activity. But this is a natural component, a polysaccharide, which is not the one that is on the table. Or we took it from somewhere else. It gives results specifically for the cell. When glucose is retained in the cell, we are active. Even with low blood pressure, we feel great. Glucose is needed for energy. Here, energy comes to the person. What is here? These 4 components give a very good result for the body, so that we do not suffer. There is a component, a polysaccharide called galactose. What is it needed for? We talked about joints, do you remember? And it is precisely glucosamine acid. It made glucosamine acid, which completely restores cartilage tissue. If there is damage, it depends on how actively and for how long we drink it, what dosages of ACTIVIDAN we have, and it is precisely galactose in combination with this acid, the polysaccharide, that allows for the restoration of cartilage and allows calcium to be retained in the bone, retention of calcium in the bone. That is, calcium has entered, but it goes into the bone. This component helps, it gives this result. Here they are, polysaccharides, which work for the body, which give the result so that we are healthy, so that we do not suffer. What do we have today? I will make a small circle here and draw the letter A. Imagine that there is ACTIVIDAN in the package here, and around him we are with you. This is our life. What do we have in life today? Food. Tell me, who has quality food? Very few people. Very few people. I write food. I ask a question. Yes, that is, everyone needs to ask the question. Where do we get it? What do we eat? What do we take from the market? And so on. When we have a body still in childhood, it starts to grow. What is important for a mother to ensure her child is healthy? Probably it is important to feed them properly. Yes, this is exactly the moment when the foundation of immunity is laid from infancy, when the child will develop properly, and here, at this active age, it is necessary to recommend to the mother to give this to the child. Why should such a small child be given this? Not because they already lack these polysaccharides, and because as soon as he is born, radicals already attack his body. Imagine he already needs antioxidant protection then, not when he is 10 years old, but right when he's just born. As they say, the dove has just hatched from the egg. Give him antioxidant protection so that radicals do not destroy the cell. Because today a child suffers, ages from the age of 14. How do you like this information? That is, 14 years old, and you are already aging. That is, look at children. When a child is 3 years old, they look like they are 6. When they are 10, they look like they are 17, 13, 14. There are such moments. This needs to be talked about. In our life, there is a state of energy. Where do we get this energy from? From where? Well, we only get energy from each other. We do. We greeted a person, wished them well, and received energy, wished bad, received bad, that's it. From the sun, from the earth, from the cosmos, it all comes. But if you are a complete person, a homo sapiens, you understand why you came here and what you need, then you will receive this energy. But today we will talk about how energy will not come from anywhere. It needs to be earned, and you need to understand where I will constantly have it. This is the component of ACTIVIDAN. Why does ACTIVIDAN give this energy? Because glycogen, the starch that accumulates inside, is responsible for the accumulation and collection of the carbohydrate balance inside, which gives glucose. And this glucose accumulating in the cell gives us this energy balance. This is the energy. Do you understand what this means? If we take the activator every day and say, today I don't want to, I will drink it tomorrow, well then ask your body, maybe it never needs water at all, and maybe it doesn't need food. That is, then such a question needs to be asked. Next, what does a person need for the cell's condition to be optimal and for the cell not to deflate? This is the osmotic state, the cosmos. What is the cosmos? It is the space, the constancy of the water balance. That is when polysaccharides activida allow water with positively charged electrons to be in the cell, they are removed in the intercellular space. The cell always has full-fledged water. Do you know that our body contains 50% of unique pure water, which is stored in our intercellular space for any eventuality? That is, we have it, but the body holds it and does not use it. And it says, drink water so that you have enough. And this I keep for later. So this osmotic state polysaccharides, activida, it also preserves it in my intercellular space and in the cell itself so that we can live fully. They had good cognitive functions, had a good reserve of energy inside, had healthy joints, and did not suffer from any pain. By the way, energy glucosamine acid relieves pain in any musculoskeletal system, whether it be elbows, hips, or knee joints. That is, in addition to fully restoring, it also relieves pain. The pain-relieving effect is very good. It can be applied externally or taken internally in high doses to achieve results. Next, what else is interesting and useful about ACTIVIDAN? When our immunity weakens, what do we say? I need protection, right? How do I get this protection? ACTIVIDAN has unique actions. It provides protection. What kind of protection is this, and where does it come from? Imagine, we have a stomach, we have an esophagus, then we have a long small intestine, a thin intestine, a large intestine, and this is the entire digestive system, which is capable to digest the food that we will eat with you. When a person has a not very good stomach lining inside, and there are also different bacteria living there, such a bacterium called Helicobacter. Do you know? It lives in many people, and many people consider it normal. They say that it should live in everyone. No, it should not live in everyone. It's not very pleasant for our body. She also, like candidiasis, Candida likes to live inside. She is not going to leave the body because she feels good there. It is also warm, moist, and very pleasant for her. What do the components of ACTIVIDAN polysaccharides do when they enter the body? All these polysaccharides that we mentioned act on the mucous membrane of our body, specifically on the mucous membrane of the esophagus, the mucous membrane of the stomach, the mucous membrane of the small intestine, and the intestines. Under what condition? Due to the fact that ACTIVIDAN is still mucus. It is an extract of algae from mucus. It has these very interesting components that help it adhere. It adheres to them. This bacterium, Helicobacter, adheres to them. And all these polysaccharides enhance their actions to remove it from the body. That is, no chemicals, no antibiotics. Everything is very simple. Due to the fact that the active components attract, Helicobacter can be easily removed from the body, but it needs to be taken again. This is a protective function. At the same time, the components of ACTIVIDAN work intensively on the submucosal layer, on the mucous membrane. We have blood circulation, there are vessels, capillaries, arterioles, the smallest vessels everywhere. But today, people's blood supply is not very good. Some had COVID, some have had vascular dystonia since childhood, and some are generally weak, the vascular wall. Someone has diabetes. Many tasks that weaken this system here. And what does ACTIVIDAN do? It strengthens the capillary vascular atrial, providing dense vascular walls. It makes the endothelium, which lines the inside of the vascular wall, young. When the endothelium inside the vascular wall is young, that is, its quality is high, then we are young. We can live for a very long time and have very good blood circulation. We do not get sick then. No atherosclerosis, no ischemic disease, no angina, and these various consequences related to vascular and heart activity. And it is precisely the protective function of ACTIVIDAN that performs its function here. When the mucous membrane is protected, when there is no Helicobacter, when there is no pathogenic flora, So what is the organism for? He is in favor of having good microflora in the intestines so that there are no pathogenic ones. When a person takes some medications and they do not deal with this intestinal flora, we have different flora, believe me. There should be trillions of bacteria that are specifically of high quality good ones, and then they will suppress the pathogenic ones. But when it's the opposite, then there is a war going on. What does Actividan do with its feats? It would seem that you drink the powder and just live on. What's there? We don't know what's happening there. In fact, the components of polysogalide Actividan allow macrophages to activate. They allow the local immune system to be boosted. They work on maintaining internal cleanliness, and we have actual nodes in our intestines which stand guard over our health. And when Actividan enters inside, it allows for cleaning this mucous membrane from excess mucus. When a person has a lot of mucus in their body due to improper nutrition, it results in an excess of this mucus. We have 100 diseases. We are looking for the cause. The cause is right here. The cause always has a subtext, a common denominator, which you erase, and the numerator will disappear. That is, everything will be fine. And the condition under the intake of Actividan is as follows. The mucus villus part has been cleaned, which is not hair, but rather how these villi are made from the mucous membrane. Now imagine as if you took and drew these little villi, and these villi, short and small, cover the small intestine. And depending on how much they are covered with mucus, we either absorb the food we ate, the useful part will be absorbed or not. When they talk about fermentopathy, a person has poor absorption, null food. What is it about? It's about the pancreas not working well, and poor absorption here in the intestines. And the active task is to remove this excess mucus, activate the villus part, and then order will be restored inside. Then the lymph will be in a clean state, the food that you ate will be absorbed, what is needed and what is not needed will be eliminated. This is the role of Actividan, and that's why it's called a protective function. Next, another point, the most important one. They are all important, but one of them, each of them becomes more and more important because we are delving deeper into the body. When they say your blood has descended, what do they suggest? They suggest. And someone yes, someone says no, someone starts using a folk remedy. Actividan has a unique ability for selective action. We put a point on it. Selective action, no need to control. It will decide by itself how much your blood needs to be thinned. That is, no need to control. No need to fear that you ate something extra. That something extra will happen inside. It has such a property, such a function. Like a guy, it thins the blood. That is, it's an anticoagulant. So I'll write it like this to understand anticoagulant. And a person takes Actividan, they don't have clots. A person takes Actividan, they don't have atherosclerotic plaques. Why is this? Because it works on bile. The gallbladder secretes bile, and Actividan's components bind with these bile acids, and the condition of the liver becomes completely different. It starts to work differently. It secretes components. That is, either it doesn't secrete at low density, but secretes high density, which will just allow the body not to have elevated cholesterol. That is, then the brain vessels are clean. There is such an academician, Yuri Silovich Good, a professor, co-doctor of sciences, who would elevate a person. If the carotid arteries were clean, people would live forever. How are our carotid arteries? On one side, they are clogged with plaques in a person. Then on the other side, then the vertebral artery is not like that. Then there they lie down, and then here. Therefore, this property of the anticoagulant ability of Actividan is a very important point that everyone needs to know. Even a mother of a small child should know this, because today this infection is circulating around us, and it is not going to disappear today. This mutating COVID infection, which each time will not have an end, and we will have to learn to deal with it each time. But the most unpleasant fact to which this leads is that we have blood thickening, and the cardiovascular system is being destroyed. Here's what. The vascular wall is thinning. The active role is to strengthen the vascular wall, work on both the right and left sides of the heart, work on the coronary vessels, work on the carotid arteries, improve the state of blood circulation, improve the heart rate. And another interesting point is that many people lack iodine today. Iodine, which the body lacks, will play a role. So there won't be energy inside. What do you think? There will be. When the thyroid gland is not functioning properly and there is a lack of iodine, a person will feel tired. They start various journeys, to one doctor to another doctor. What does Actividan do? It does not contain iodine, but what is its property? When consumed internally, it activates the thyroid gland. I'm writing here just briefly, the thyroid gland. That is, it activates its function in any condition it may be in, depending on what is happening with it, whether it is underperforming, if there are any changes, or if there have been any surgical interventions, and what dosage will suit you to bring it to a normal functioning organ. This is the moment when the thyroid gland is not working properly. There is a malfunction everywhere. Do you agree? It comes from fatigue. It comes from a state of exhaustion. It affects the nervous system. It affects the entire endocrine system. It concerns both men and women. It is here in the commands, the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus. Everything is interconnected. When the moments of the climatic period come, for women, when those moments come, men also experience it. What? Hormonal imbalance. Testosterone decreases. Men don't have estrogens. They don't have estradiol. And what happens? Imbalance. Hot flashes, vascular system disorders, calcium depletion from the body, condition such discomfort, fatigue, poor sleep, irritability, poor appetite, a lot of things. And these consequences lead to the fact that all these systems will suffer. Today, scientists say that the climatic period has also somehow become younger. Everything is getting younger. Osteoarthritis has become younger. Various diseases have also become younger. And we live in such a formidable status, so to speak, in such a society where you constantly need to watch yourself. And suddenly a person says, I'm tired of it. Enough. I don't want to. And here, what is the main factor? I understand. I understand that today Actividant is that functional product that will help me have a state of comfort. That's what we were talking about, working on all these components. All these circles that I drew today, all the connections, the work inside the body, it also activates here. And then we have energy, balance, then we have health. If the Actividant is such an interesting product that will work on the immune system and significantly boost it, is there a chance for us to have complications after some infection? What do you think? No chance. No chance at all. When a person falls ill with a low immune system and there's no energy, and health is already indicating this, it's not worth just trying to escape from here. Yes, and he starts just taking some pharmacy medications. What can happen? The most unpleasant thing, whichever system is weak, as they say, that's where the complication will occur. If it's the kidneys, then it's the kidneys. If it's the lungs, then it's the lungs. Or if the vascular system is weak, you'll get the result there, negative. When a person realizes that today it is not so easy to live, they say, I will take something, they take an Actividant, and start drinking it actively. That is when it's a virus, and you are in the active phase of this virus, when it's definitely not good for you. You start drinking not just one sachet of 6 grams, but you start drinking an active dose. We will drink 6 sachets a day for 3 to 4 days. This is when you actively start helping. Now, what happens when we drink this product practically every hour? What does it allow? The most important thing is that when the infection enters the body, we need to prevent it from entering the cell. These are the first hours. We need to capture these very hours. But often it happens that a person says it seemed like I didn't get sick. In reality, everything is already spreading. And when a person captures this moment and drinks it as prescribed for 3 days, then the virus does not enter the cell. He has nothing left to fight for. He was already expelled from there by the components of Actividan. And then the person has no chance of having a pathological process that worsens further. When the process is already ongoing, the person has an infection, he is in pain, he has fallen somewhere, the condition is very uncomfortable, but he takes Actividan. And what does this state of taking Actividan indicate? That there is no possibility of having any complications inside. This is certain, it has already been verified. And today you will probably hear, yes, facts that speak about this. This is the condition. Let's return to our body. This is our skin. What is our skin? It is a large endocrine system that covers us from the outside, but the skin has the ability to be placed. It has the ability to have pigment spots. Some red dots appear on the skin. Some other growths may appear. Where does all this come from? Do we need this? Tell me. No. Why does this occur? What do you think? Slagging of the body. Where does it come from? This is our intestines. This is our digestive system. Everything comes from there. If a person has candidiasis in the lower intestines, for example, although it can be found everywhere, if there are growths, polyps, and not very good flora, then in the lower parts of your body below the waist, papillomas or polyps will appear. If the intestines are affected upwards, then not everything is well. Above the waist, expect these unwanted guests. Therefore, by consuming good quality water and food, by taking Activitans, we allow ourselves to bring our immune system in order. Our immune system is the duodenum. If everything is fine there, then we do not suffer and do not get sick. But today, it cannot be said that everyone has a good immunity, because everyone has been affected by COVID. Everyone has these negative consequences. And the work of Actividan here is in what parameter, in what aspect. It allows for a protective function that we talked about. Here it works on the mucous membrane of the esophagus, stomach, without the duodenum, the small intestine of the entire body. And this will be its main protective function. And taking Actividan indicates that macrophages are activated inside. There is a state of immunity when the immune system has a good barrier. The barrier starts from the duodenum. If there is a barrier in this immune system, then nothing will happen to the body. Wherever you are, you will always come out dry. As they say, you will never get sick. The most important point of Actividan, what is it about? It's about whether I drink it or not, whether I take it or not, how I take it. Please remember this, water intake. Water, that is water, the main parameter for the body. It is 30 grams per kilogram of body weight. If we take this regularly, then our cells have the opportunity to have a good environment, free from waste and toxins, not be clogged, properly release the body's energy, reserves, have good immunity, and properly absorb Actividan. When we do not drink enough water, the absorption of Actividan is only 50%. This is what you understand. Pure water is pure water. Water is the filter that we receive with you. It has its components. When we drink impure water, the body needs energy to process it. Now let's return to our state of energy and health. So when does the body not expend energy? When there is purity inside. When does it not expend energy? When the water we consume is clean. It does not expend energy when we provide the right kind of nutrition, which is not pathogenic, not coarse food, not coarse fiber, but just too refined and unnecessary for the body, quickly prepared with some components, flavor enhancers, and so on. This is unnecessary for the body, and energy will not be expended when we adhere to these facts. The less we adhere to these facts, the more energy is expended, and the more active intake occurs inside. A person's health will depend on how much we understand what is important for me today. Good sleep. How much should we sleep? 8 hours. Who sleeps that much? We sleep much less because there are many tasks. Today is an era when time flies very quickly. We need to do a lot of things, read a lot, and manage to do a lot. And we don't have time. Notice, time is fleeting. And here it is very important to understand that the body needs to get enough sleep. And it's such a time that we work with gadgets and the method of textual protection. Every gadget, there are many, computers, phones, frames where we pass through. At home, there's a lot of different equipment in the kitchen. All this indicates that protection is needed. We don't see this inside, but changes are happening inside. Every second, free radicals attack our cells. Every second, we are aging. This is what we need to understand. Every second, changes occur in our skin. And it is precisely here that taking antioxidants internally, everything is visible on the skin. Does a person take antioxidants or not? How does their musculoskeletal system work? What properties does their brain have today? Do they fall asleep quickly? Does he wake up easily? And did he wake up in a good mood or not? This is also a parameter indicating that we are doing something inside, that something is happening inside that is not right. That is, we are doing something wrong to maintain order and cleanliness inside. And the most interesting fact, the most significant fact, you can draw a bold line here. The action is active. He maintains cleanliness inside. When there is cleanliness inside, there will be no pathogenic microflora in this state. This is not a sterile environment. It is cleanliness. When the body is ready to work properly in this purity, when it will properly absorb all these components, when it will give you good immunity, good health, when it will give you a lot of energy that will come from nowhere, and you will not get tired, you will wake up easily in the morning, you will not get irritated over trifles, you will have good stress resistance. We all have different levels of it. Some people get easily irritated by something, while others are stress resistant. And depending on how much stress resistance there is, after all, let the work of the immune system depend on it. Do you agree? Therefore, when the inside is clean, the chlorine is good. The most important are the organs of the gastrointestinal tract. The vascular system is in order. The nervous system also works correctly and smoothly. Then the cartilage tissue does not break down. The collagen fabric is dense and good. We have good connective tissue, and our cell is in asthmatic balance. About what we talked about today. This is the work of Actividan.